All right, back of another top 10 list. I already did my top 10 offensive tackles, so the only real position I haven't done is the interior offensive linemen. So I figured, okay, well, let's give them some love as well. I could have separated centers and guards, but I'm just doing them all together. So apologies if you wanted to have two different videos about this, but one hopefully will still be fun. Let's just get into the list. Number 10 on this list is a guy who I don't understand why he keeps getting traded for basically nothing. The Patriots had him. He was really good for them. They traded him to Tampa Bay for basically nothing. Okay, that was weird, but, sometimes these weird trades happen, whatever. The Tampa Buccaneers have him for a year. He was good for them. He was an effective player, one of the bright spots on a weak offensive line last year, and then they give him to Houston for basically nothing. I get that he's kind of on a contract that you can move, but it's not a bad contract. It's not like he's getting paid a ton, and he's been very effective for each team that keeps trading him away. So for Houston, they'll gladly say, sure, protect our young quarterback. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Protect CJ Stroud. We'll take it. So yeah, don't get why he keeps getting moved around, but he's number 10 on this list. Number 9 is a one-year player. He's the only guy who's only played 1 year to make this list. Tyler Linderbaum of the Baltimore Ravens, I think is great. I think had a great rookie year. Now, the knock against him, just 1 year. Small sample size. We'll have to see what happens as he continues to develop all that stuff. But through 1 year, it looks pretty great. And for offensive linemen, it's very rare for someone to have a great rookie year and then fall off. Usually when you're good, you're good. And I think that's going to be the case with Linderbaum of Baltimore. So yeah, I think I would be very high on him. I have him here at 9. Next up is the Cleveland Browns guard, Joel. I never know how to say his names. Bitonio, I don't know how you say it, and Bitonio, I don't know. I'm sorry. And what drives me crazy about these things is it's not like you can just search the Joel B highlight reel, because they never they never say offensive linemen's names usually, and then I'll ask people to tell me in the comments, and then usually someone will be very nice. They will tell me the correct pronunciation, and you'll get 6 people that will tell me the incorrect pronunciation, so I still have no idea which one is correct. So sorry to Joel, but he's a very good player for the Browns. Definitely a really good, pass blocking guard who also certainly can run block as well. Pass blocks a little better than he run blocked. Has been a very good player for Cleveland for quite some time now. So yeah, definitely deserves a spot on this list. Sorry I can't pronounce your name, Joel. Next up, we have Corey Linsley, who I think it's reasonable to say, I don't know if he's been quite as good with the Chargers as he was with the Packers. The Chargers paid him a bunch of money, which always is a risk, right? Paying someone a bunch of money, playing in a new scheme now. But he's still been great. He's been an incredible pass blocking. His pass blocking stats and stuff like that have been fantastic. And I still think he's, one of the better players in the league. So while he's maybe not quite, he was kind of challenging for number 1 on the list with Green Bay. Maybe he's not quite that with the Chargers, but he still lived up to the contract, I think, for them. So I have him at number 7 on the list. Next up on the list is Joe Thuney of the Kansas City Chiefs, a guy who's played for some pretty great quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, and used to play for the Patriots before the Chiefs signed him. So played for Tom Brady as well, obviously, and has done pretty great at really, I would say both categories, but is another guy who's definitely, his pass blocking is why he's there, which, listen, for the Chiefs, that's what they want you to do. They want you to pass block, right? That's his job, is to be a pass blocker. There is no, a good run blocking guard who doesn't pass block very well has very little value in that scheme, but Thuney's the opposite, which is why he's, been so effective. And he's not a bad run blocker either. He's a good run blocker, but pass blocking is insane. So he's here at number 6. Number 5 is a guy who I've just always been higher on than other people have, I feel like. Chris Lindstrom, who I remember I had him pretty high on I did a top 100 players list last year, and I had him pretty high on that list. I think that surprised some people. I think he's great, though. I really do. I think he's a fantastic player, and PFF agrees with me, as last year they had him as the league best guard last season, and I think that so I feel a little vindicated in that regard. I was very high on him, and he's really shown no, he is legitimately great. Atlanta Falcons guard, I should mention, and he's been a great bright spot for Atlanta and done a lot of really good work for them. So he's a top 5 interior offensive lineman in my opinion. Number 4 is Quenton Nelson. So for Lindstrom, who had a career high year last year, Nelson of the Colts had a career low year. He was one of the few big name offensive linemen, right? An offensive lineman that you could say his name and people knew who he was, largely due to draft stock and because of how well he lived up to that hype. Last year wasn't spectacular, but it was kind of bad for all of the Colts offensive line. I don't really know what happened there, but so many guys had career down years. I'm willing to bet he's going to bounce back. He's still so young. I don't think that he sucks now or anything like that. I think he had a tough year, and it has had some injuries as well, and I'm sure that's factored in, which is a little concerning. You hope that it's not nothing too concerning there, but yeah, I have him here at 4. Number 3, I have the Cowboys guard, actually the highest guard on this list for me, Zack Martin, he's great. Again, maybe not his best year last year, but was still very good and has pretty consistently been amazing year after year. He's even played tackle well, so he has that versatility a little bit, but I like him at guard better, and I think that he's, been, again, whether the Cowboys have been good, bad, or in between, he's been a bright spot for that team since he's been there. So absolutely a fantastic player. I have him at 3. Number 2 on this list, you could argue he should be number 1, Jason Kelce. He's definitely been a superstar center, and again, kind of another one of the rare cases of being a big name offensive lineman that you don't see too often. I think part of it is due to his, his last name and his podcast and his personality just as much as, his abilities. But he's been consistently like a top 2 center in football since he's been in the league. Like, that's just kind of how it's worked. So because of that, I have a hard time putting anyone above him other than the one guy I put above him. He's just been so dominant, and I don't know. I think that he's very good. I have a hard time putting anyone else there, so yeah, I have him at number 2. And then number 1, Creed Humphrey of the Kansas City Chiefs. So hey, 2 Chiefs make this list. Interestingly enough, that is the only team to have multiple players make the list. And Creed Humphrey is great. He's a superstar center who he's only played 2 years. I think that's maybe the one knock you could put on him, is that it doesn't have the sample size that some of these other players do. But he's been PFF's highest rated center both years he's been in the league. Like, he's been the best player at his position both years he's been in the league. And who knows, if he continues this for a few more years, we could be starting to talk about him as like a Hall of Fame level talent. I really do think that. Now, the sample size means you could argue like Kelce could be ahead of him. I think that's fine if you had on your list, if you had Kelce at number 1 and Humphrey at 2. I wouldn't fight you on it. But for me personally, I do think that Humphrey deserves a spot. So yeah, I have him at number 1 on my list. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Creed Humphrey, number 1 on the list? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.